Imagine a desert, not the kind you see in travel magazines, with golden sunsets and adventure. This is the real Arabian desert, brutal, unforgiving, stretching in every direction further than the eye can see. The heat during the day is the kind that makes you feel the air itself is on fire, and at night, the cold bites through your skin like something alive. This is the land where our story begins, a land that most of the world had forgotten, a land that history was about to remember forever. The year is approximately 570 of the Common Era. The city of Mecca sits in a valley surrounded by harsh mountains of black rock. It is a city of merchants, of tribal politics, of ancient traditions. At its center stands the Kaaba, a cube-shaped structure that the people of Arabia have honored for generations. Pilgrims come from all over the peninsula to walk around it, to touch it, to pray near it. And yet the city around it is drowning in injustice. Slaves are bought and sold like animals. The weak are crushed under the boots of the powerful. Baby girls are buried alive because their fathers see them as a shame. The poor have no voice. The rich answer to no one. This is the world that is about to be changed. This is the world into which one man will be born and will, over the course of 63 years, transform completely. His name is Muhammad, son of Abdullah, son of Abdul Muttalib, from the noble tribe of Quraysh, descended from the Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, through his son Ismail. But none of that lineage protects him from grief. His father Abdullah dies before he is even born. Think about that for a moment. Before this child takes his first breath in this world, he is already an orphan. His mother, Amina bint Wahb, carries him alone. She raises him alone for the first years of his life, and yet she is not afraid. She is not broken, because she has seen things, in her dreams, in her waking visions, that tell her this child is unlike any child the world has ever known. Amina later narrates that when she was pregnant, a voice came to her, in a vision, in a state between waking and sleep, and told her, "You are carrying the master of this nation. When he is born, say, I seek refuge for him in the one God from the evil of every envier. Then name him Muhammad." And she saw a light emanate from her body, a light so powerful, so brilliant, that it illuminated the distant palaces of Syria. Scholars across centuries have noted this narration, preserved in the books of Sirah, the biography of the Prophet, and have said that even before his birth, the universe was announcing that something extraordinary was about to happen. He is born. He enters this world in the year of the elephant, the year that the ruler of Yemen, Abraha, marched toward Mecca with a great army and enormous war elephants, intending to destroy the Kaaba, but the army never reached it. A massive flock of birds appeared in the sky, carrying small stones in their beaks and claws, and rained those stones down upon the army until Abraha and his soldiers were destroyed, scattered, wiped away. This is the very year Muhammad comes into the world, the year Allah defended his house, the year the heavens intervened in history. It is as if the earth itself was being prepared to receive him. As was the custom among the noble families of Mecca, the infant is entrusted to a Bedouin wet nurse, a woman from the desert who will nurse him, care for him, and raise him in the clean open air of the countryside, away from the diseases and crowded streets of the city. Many families sent their newborns this way. It was a tradition, a practice of health and culture. But it also meant that in these early, foundational years, Muhammad grows up not in the tight alleyways of Mecca, but in the wide open desert, under stars, in silence, in the kind of space that teaches a human being to think. The woman who comes to collect him is named Halima al-Sa'diyah. She is from the tribe of Banu Sa'd, a Bedouin tribe known for their pure Arabic dialect and their life in the open desert. She comes to Mecca with a group of other women from her tribe, all of them looking for infants to nurse in exchange for payment. But the year has been hard. There is drought. Her animals are weak. Her family is struggling. And when she arrives in Mecca and the women begin choosing their infants, Halima is left with nothing. Every family she approaches has either already given their child to someone else, or the child has a father who can pay well. Muhammad, being an orphan, with no father to offer money, is passed over again and again. Halima and her husband sit with each other at the end of that long, disappointing day and make a decision. They say, "Let us take this orphan. Perhaps Allah will bless us through him. Perhaps there is something in this child that will bring good to our home." It is a decision made out of desperation, yes, but it is also a decision made with a kind of faith, a kind of hope, that would be rewarded in ways they could never have imagined. The moment Halima takes the baby Muhammad into her arms and puts him to her breast, something changes. She had been unable to produce enough milk for even her own infant, but suddenly, the milk flows abundantly, more than enough for Muhammad, more than enough for her own child. Her husband looks at their old she-camel that night, the one that had been dry for weeks, and finds it full of milk. They drink until they are satisfied. Her donkey, which had been so slow and weak that the other women had laughed at Halima on the journey to Mecca, suddenly becomes so fast and strong that the same women are struggling to keep up on the journey back. Her sheep and goats come home, full and heavy with milk, while the neighbors' animals return thin and dry. The people of her tribe begin to notice. Her neighbors say to her, "Halima, something has happened. You have been given a blessed child." And she agrees. She feels it. She sees it in everything around her. The land where she lives begins to green. The seasons seem kinder, the rains come more easily, and the child himself. He is unlike any child she has ever seen. He grows faster than normal children. He is stronger, more alert, more alive. Within 2 years, he is already running round on his feet, full of energy, speaking with a clarity that amazes everyone who encounters him. And so when the time comes for Halima to return Muhammad to his mother, she finds herself unable to do it. She goes back to Amina and asks, "Please, let me keep him a little longer. Let him stay with us. He has been nothing but a blessing to our family." Amina agrees. Muhammad stays longer in the desert, longer in the open space, longer in the world of stars and silence and wide horizons, growing, learning, becoming. He is around 4 years old, maybe 5. The exact age is not recorded with certainty, but he is a young child, small, innocent, playing in the open fields near Halima's home. His foster brother, a boy named Damra, according to some narrations, is with him. They are doing what children do, running, laughing, exploring the world around them with the particular kind of joy that belongs only to those who have not yet learned to be afraid of it. And then something happens that will echo through all of human history. 2 figures appear. They come from nowhere. They are clothed in white, brilliant, blinding white. They are not men. The foster brother knows they are not men, and what they do next is something that should be impossible. They take Muhammad, they lay him down, and they open his chest. The foster brother screams. He turns and runs as fast as his small legs will carry him back toward Halima's tent, shrieking at the top of his lungs that Muhammad has been killed, that someone has come and killed his brother. Halima and her husband come running. Their hearts are pounding. Their worst fear, that something terrible has happened to the child in their care, seems to be coming true. They reach the field and find Muhammad standing there, upright, alive, but his face is pale, drained, the color of someone who has just passed through something immense. He is not crying. He is not screaming. He is simply standing there, looking at the world with eyes that seem, somehow, different from the eyes of the child who had left the tent an hour ago. He tells them, in the simple words of a young child, what happened. He says to men in white came to him. They had a golden vessel filled with snow or ice. They opened his chest. They took out his heart. They removed something from inside it, a dark portion, something that should not have been there. They washed his heart. They returned it. They closed his chest. And they left. This event is known in the Islamic tradition as Shaqq al-Sadr, the opening of the chest. It is recorded in Sahih Muslim, one of the most rigorously authenticated books of hadith in all of Islamic scholarship. It is not a legend. It is not a myth passed down through unreliable sources. It is among the most verified narrations in the entire literature of the Prophet's life. Now, when Halima hears this, she is frightened. She is a simple woman, a Bedouin woman, without formal religious training or deep theological knowledge. She does not fully understand what has happened. She fears that the child has been touched by something supernatural in a way that might harm him, or that she might be blamed if anything further happens to him. And so, with a heavy heart, she makes the difficult decision to return Muhammad to his mother. She travels to Mecca. She brings the child back to Amina, and she tells her everything, what the foster brother said, what she found, what the boy himself described. She braces herself for Amina's horror, for her anger, for her fear. But Amina does not panic. She listens. She is quiet for a moment, and then she says something that utterly silences Halima. She says, "Do you fear that the devil will have power over my son?" "No, by Allah, the devil has no authority over this child. My son has a great future ahead of him." And then she tells Halima what she had seen, the light from her body during pregnancy, the voices that spoke to her, the visions that had prepared her for the knowledge that this child was not like other children. She had already known, long before the angels came. She had already known. There is something deeply moving about this moment between the women. One a Bedouin foster mother trembling with fear, one a widowed mother in a city that had given her very little, both of them connected by a child neither of them fully understood. But Amina understood enough. She understood that her son was held, that whatever was happening around him was not chaos, it was purpose. What exactly was this event? This opening of the chest, what was its meaning? Islamic scholars across 14 centuries have reflected on it, written about it, debated its precise nature, and while they agree on the event itself, they bring different lenses of understanding to its significance. The most fundamental understanding is this: every human being is created with a capacity for both good and evil. A whisper of darkness lives inside each of us. The Arabic term used in some narrations is hadhin min al-shaytan, a portion, a share, the influence of the devil that exists within the human heart, and that, left unchecked, pulls a person toward heedlessness, toward sin, toward distance from God. This is part of the test of human existence. We are all given this capacity. We are all tested by it. We all struggle with it throughout our lives. But the man who was being prepared to carry the greatest message ever given to humanity, the man whose heart would become the vessel for divine revelation, the man whose character would become the example for all of human civilization, could not carry that portion of darkness. He needed to be purified in a way that went beyond the ordinary. He needed to be prepared in a way that no human preparation could achieve. And so Allah sent his angels, and the work was done not with the tools of this world, but with something beyond this world: snow or ice, described in the narration, pure, white, cold, cleansing, and the heart that emerged from that vessel was washed clean, ready, prepared for everything that was to come. Imam al-Nawawi, the great medieval scholar who wrote one of the most important commentaries on Sahih Muslim, explained that the Shaqq, al-Sadr, was a visible, physical manifestation of a divine spiritual reality. It was Allah showing, in a form that could be witnessed and narrated and remembered, that he had personally prepared his prophet. That this was not a man who simply decided one day to claim prophethood. This was a man who had been chosen, shaped, and purified from the very beginning. And the snow, or ice, used to wash the heart is significant in itself. In Arabic tradition and in Islamic spiritual symbolism, whiteness and coldness are associated with purity, with clarity, with the absence of corruption. Hot, dark things, fire, blood, are associated with passion, with anger, with the nafs, the lower self that pulls toward destruction. The heart of the prophet was washed cold and white and clean, made still, made pure, made ready. Muhammad returns to Mecca. He is reunited with his mother Amina, and for a brief time, he has the experience that every child needs most in the world: the presence of his mother. They travel together to Yathrib to visit the family of his late father, the tribe of Banu Nayyar. They spend time there, and on the return journey, Amina becomes ill. The illness worsens quickly, and before they reach Mecca, she dies. She is buried in a place called Al-Abwa, between Mecca and Medina, a spot that the prophet would visit decades later with tears running down his face, saying that she was his mother, and that he had sought permission from Allah to seek forgiveness for her, but had not been permitted. And so he stood at her grave and wept as a son weeps, for the woman who carried him, who believed in him before the world knew his name. He is 6 years old, an orphan twice over, his father before birth, his mother before childhood is finished. He is taken in by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, a dignified, respected elder of the Quraysh, a man of great presence and authority in Mecca, and this grandfather loves this grandson with a love that people around them can see and feel. He gives Muhammad a place beside him that he gives to none of his own sons. He brings him into councils. He seats him near him. He honors him in public. People notice. They say, this old man loves this orphan boy more than his own blood. But loss has not finished with the young Muhammad. 2 years later, Abdul Muttalib also dies. He is approximately 80 years old, and as he lies dying, he calls his son Abu Talib, Muhammad's uncle, and he gives him one charge, one request, one thing above all others. He says, take care of this boy, guard him, love him, do not let the world devour him. Abu Talib makes that promise, and to his credit, for the rest of his long life, Abu Talib keeps it. Even when keeping it costs him everything, Muhammad goes to live with Abu Talib and his family. He grows up among cousins, among the daily life of a respected but not wealthy Meccan household. He does not grow up in luxury. He works. He helps. As a young boy, he tends to the sheep and goats, a task that, far from being beneath him, turns out to be one of the great teachers of his character. Shepherding is not glamorous work. It requires patience. It requires attention. It requires caring for those who cannot care for themselves, guiding those who wander, protecting those who are vulnerable. And every prophet before him, Ibrahim, Musa, Daud, was also a shepherd, as if Allah specifically designs this apprenticeship for the men he intends to guide nations. He is known in Mecca, even as a young man, as Al-Amin, the trustworthy one, the honest one. In a city full of merchants who cheat, traders who lie, politicians who manipulate, this young man stands out because he simply does not do those things. People trust him with their money, their secrets, their most delicate affairs. He does not boast. He does not chase status. He is quiet in a world that rewards loudness. He is truthful in a world that profits from deception. He is already something different. He travels with his uncle's trade caravans. He goes to Syria. He sees other peoples, other cultures, other ways of living. On one of these journeys, when he is approximately 12 years old, something remarkable happens. A Christian monk named Bahira, living in a monastery along the trade route, sees the caravan approaching from a distance. He has seen hundreds of caravans pass this route. He has never once come out to greet them, but this time, he comes out. He invites the entire caravan to eat with him, and when they are all seated, he looks around the group until his eyes rest on this young boy. He goes to him. He looks at his hands. He looks at his face. He asks him questions. Bahira tells Abu Talib, "This boy is carrying something great. There is a sign between his shoulder blades, the seal of prophethood, a marking on his skin. I have read about this in our ancient scriptures. He is the one who is prophesied. Take care of him. Do not take him to Syria. There are people in Syria who, if they recognize him, will try to harm him." Abu Talib is shaken. He trusts this old monk. Bahira is known as a man of knowledge and sincerity. He sends most of his goods ahead and returns to Mecca with his nephew. And that early journey, that encounter, becomes one of the many signs scattered through the prophet's life like breadcrumbs, left by the divine, signs that pointed, for those with eyes to see, towards something enormous that was coming. Years pass. Muhammad grows into a young man of exceptional character. He becomes involved in trade, honest trade, and builds a reputation that spreads through Mecca and beyond. He is employed by a wealthy businesswoman named Khadija bint Khuwaylid to take her goods to Syria for trade. He goes. He returns. He has doubled her investment through his honesty and his intelligence. Khadija hears not only about the prophets, but about the man, how he dealt with people, how he resolved disputes on the road, how even the heat and difficulty of the journey did not make him dishonest or harsh. She is a woman of great intelligence herself. She proposes marriage to him. He is 25. She is 40. And their marriage becomes one of the great love stories of human history, not because of its drama or its romance in the way that word is often used, but because of its depth, its loyalty, its partnership, for 25 years. Until her death, Khadija is his greatest supporter, his shelter, his closest companion. She is the first person to believe in him when the revelation comes. She is the one who holds him when he is trembling. She is the one who says, "You are a man of truth. Allah will not abandon you." But that moment is still years away, and before it comes, there are other events, other signs, other pieces of the divine preparation being laid into place. There is the incident of the black stone, the Kaaba